Hello, everybody. I hope everyone's doing well wherever you're logging in from. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am the host of Mom's Movement and Mindset, how to break the resistance and transform your body and mind. And today I have the pleasure of speaking with someone who I've previously worked with. That, of course, is Elysha Lenkin. She's a personal fashion stylist. She helps women express themselves through fashion so they look current, feel confident, and stay true to themselves. She's worked with hundreds of women of all shapes and sizes, including Tina Fey, Serena Williams, and Carrie Underwood. Now her focus is helping everyday women to dress better so they show up more confidently in their lives. Hey, Elysha, how are we doing?
Pretty good. How are you doing, Don?
I'm doing well. Thank you for taking time out of your day to be here and to offer value to this interview series, to this summit. Let's just jump right in. I'm definitely curious to hear some examples of how you see resistance in your line of work. So with that, why don't we start by just, if you could give us some examples, I guess, of resistance that you see both in your personal life with current clients and even potential clients maybe you've had conversations with that gets in the way or blocks them from moving forward to maybe want to change in their fashion and their style.
Yeah. So normally by the time a woman has gotten on a call with me and expressed interest to work with me, she's already worked through her resistance. So all of my clients at that point, they have a readiness to move forward and to really hit their goals of dressing better and feeling more confident. They have a willingness to try new things and to listen to the advice that I offer them. However, I have seen many women who have not reached that point yet, and I've talked to them as well, and they're still being their actions are still being hampered by their resistance. So they may want to dress better, they may want to feel more polished, more pulled together, they want to like how they look in their clothes, yet there's still that resistance that is self-sabotaging, really, and it is holding them back and it is keeping them stuck in the same place and unable to move forward. So I definitely see that with a lot of women who are feeling stuck in a rut. I'm noticing it a lot after COVID. Women, they really changed how they were dressing and how they were showing up on video, not as much in person. And a lot of the motivation tanked, right? And when it was time to come back out there, get back into the world, they felt confused, they felt frustrated, they didn't quite know how to put it all together. But what they did know is that how they used to dress, what used to work, wasn't working anymore because they've changed. The world has changed, their lifestyles have changed. So they feel that friction of where they want to be and the confusion of not really knowing how to get there. And then there's the resistance that keeps them stuck in that place, in that same old place.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I actually had a sales call with a lady, and she, even though we're on the call for like fitness, nutrition stuff, she related it right away to her fashion. She had friends that had invited her out, especially you had mentioned COVID, like over the pandemic. And she said no, just because there was just a handful of outfits that she just didn't like the way she looked in. And so she used that as like her excuse to just not then go out and live life and socialize and be with her friends. So, I mean, that's obviously a side. We could just see how like just dressing, like fashion, can affect someone's like well-being, like their social life, their ability to have relationships and connect with people. I don't know if you want to maybe touch on add to that, but
yes, absolutely. Well, that's a really great example of the frustration that women feel. They get invited to go somewhere, they've got some place to be, and the feeling of, I hate how I look in all my clothes, I don't know what to wear, I have nothing to wear. All of this piles up, and it does cause people to not go out, to cancel invitations, to not go see people. And it's coming from that frustration of not feeling happy with where they are in their lives, and the pile of clothes that they throw on the bed after spending 40, 50 minutes trying things on is the physical manifestation of that resistance. It's literally a pile of clothes, a pile of frustration on the bed.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that's a nice way to kind of make it like tangible, like a way to kind of quantify it. You could just see it; it's all right there, and then the feelings that hit them. Um, so, like with all that said, like we're starting to like obviously touch on resistance and how this can block people. I just don't think it makes sense, and I feel like I'm probably not alone with this. But how can somebody want to change, right? Whether in this case, you know, change their fashion, their look, so badly. Actually, say that out loud. Like you could hook them up to a lie detector test, and they would pass. But yet, when push comes to shove, they don't make that change. Like what do you feel is really kind of the root of the issue there that's preventing them from making the change that they so badly want to make?
Because making change is so scary. It takes tremendous courage to step into that next level, to up level yourself, to do things that you've never done before. It's really scary. It is way easier, way more comfortable to keep doing that thing, to keep wearing those clothes, even though you don't like how you look, you don't like how they fit, they don't give you confidence or make you feel great. It's easier to stay on autopilot and continue going that way as opposed to doing things differently, because when you make a change and you do things differently, there's uncertainty involved, there's risk involved, and especially when there's confusion, when you don't know exactly what to do, it feels like it's not possible to actually achieve your goals, which is why it is so helpful to have somebody help you, which is what I do with my clients. I show them all the possibilities, what is available to them. Because as you mentioned earlier, I've styled hundreds of women. I know it is possible for every woman, no matter what size, no matter what shape, no matter how old she is, it is possible for her to look stylish and to feel confident in her clothes. So I believe that it is the change that is scaring them, it is holding them back, and it is way easier to just stay and keep doing the same thing. And we see that all the time. I'm sure there's women listening right now who can attest to wearing the same thing over and over again because it's what they've always done and they're not quite sure how to do things differently.
Yeah, it's like it kind of like I guess it speaks to the comfort zone, right? Like not coming outside of the comfort zone. You know, you started to touch on it a little bit. Maybe you could speak a little bit more in detail here. But what are some ways that you help clients, potential clients, friends, family, really whoever, to overcome that resistance? Like, what are some things that you do with them or implement when working with them to get them to step outside of that comfort zone and make that change?
First thing we do is we start exactly where they're at, because all my clients are in a different place. So we raise the awareness of where they're at. So we look closely at what are their circumstances, what is their current body shape, because a lot of women's bodies change, whether they've gained weight, whether they lose weight, whether they've just gotten older. So we look at what is their current body, we look at what is their current wardrobe, start where you're at. And then we create a vision of what's possible for them. And that's when I come in and I bring in new ideas that are related to their body and to their lifestyle. I show them what's possible and how they can look stylish and feel confident in their clothes. So that's one of the ways that I help my clients. And another huge part of the work I do with my clients, and this comes from a lot of the practices and the work I do with myself, is it's if you want to make a change, if you want to hit a goal, if you want to do something differently, there's a reason why you have that goal in your mind in the first place, right? So for women who want to dress better, something has sparked inside of them that they want to show up with more confidence. They want to look more polished. So what a really beautiful thing to do is to connect to that part of yourself that wants that goal. And for myself personally, I like to see it as my future self. So I like to connect to a version of myself that's already hit the goal, right? So for women who want to dress better, look more polished, feel more pulled together, what would it feel like to be that woman right now? And then once you connect to that version of yourself, your future self, start taking action, start making decisions from that place. You will choose things so differently when you're making decisions as your future self, as the woman who's already hit your goals. That's going to help you propel forward to get to the next level.
Yeah, I think that's so great that you touched on the feelings, because as humans, I mean, that's what we always make our decisions based on what we feel. So like having and coaching someone to like think about their future self and the feelings that are associated with what they're trying to do is so powerful, because in the moment, I guess maybe some of the resistance that they feel that prevents them from moving forward is because they're making a decision based on the feelings that they're feeling right now. Like the limiting beliefs maybe that they have about themselves right now, like, oh, I won't look good, or this won't look good, or only she'll look good in that. And those thoughts just are not true. So I love that, like being able to like coach somebody into like, hey, how would it feel, and get them to move forward. So I guess with that, like kind of bringing that up here, like as far as the resistance is concerned, we're gonna go back to that, and I want to talk a little bit more about that last point too. But the resistance now itself, where do you feel that even like originates for somebody specifically with their fashion, like those limiting beliefs, the things that block them, like that doesn't just come, that's not just with them now, like that couldn't have just come out of nowhere. Like where would you say that starts from?
It starts from the brain. It starts from your thoughts. It starts from the stories that you're telling yourself. That's that's all resistance is. Resistance is not real. It's not a circumstance. Resistance is a thought that creates that feeling that holds you back and keeps you stuck. So our brains are wired for protection and to keep us safe. And this just goes back to ancient times when we were protecting ourselves from being eaten by a lion. Unfortunately, the brain has not really developed as and it needs to be rewired. And the way that you rewire your brain is you choose different thoughts. And the way that you can choose different thoughts is you connect to your future self and you start thinking like her. So it all has to do with your thoughts and the stories that you're telling yourself, and they're not true. Resistance is not a circumstance. It is not real. It starts in your thoughts, and we all have the power to change our own thoughts.
Yeah, I love that, because it's just so true. We definitely have, whatever it may be, in this case with our fashion, and how we dress, we have the power of choice. Like we can choose to or choose not to. We are not powerless in that sense. And even that alone right there, if we buy into that, that's extremely empowering. Now to build off of that, we're kind of talking a little bit about momentum now. How is it, I guess if you could kind of put out there maybe even some examples, I don't know, but when a lady takes that step, that uncomfortable step, and actually works with you, like believes in what you're coaching, thinks about the future self and has those feelings and finally does it, right? Gets into that new outfit, that new wardrobe, loves the way that she looks. Can you speak a little bit to maybe how like that will build endurance for a person, and help them to then make that action then becomes easier and easier, I guess, I would assume.
Yes. Well, confidence comes from taking action, right? Confidence comes from overcoming your hurdles. So wherever you feel resistance, maybe it's okay. So for example, I have some clients who they might feel self-conscious about their bodies, and they would never wear a belt to show their to show their waist, or they would never tuck in their pants. And they listen to me because they're willing to try new things, right? So they're willing to overcome that resistance and try new ideas, and they try it on and they see themselves in a completely different way. So they've just built a new level of confidence, right? So that becomes a new baseline. So now wearing belts, tucking your shirt in, oh, that's nothing, right? But then when it comes to the next level, like maybe it's wearing a brighter color that's going to highlight your skin, hair, and eyes and bring out your true vibrancy, right? So confidence builds, and it comes from taking action. So as you overcome resistance, little by little, you build confidence. And the more confidence you create, then you go to your next level, new devil, right? So new resistance is going to come up. And then you overcome that and you create more confidence. So, what I'm seeing with my clients is that we're working together. They're overcoming resistance, building confidence. And then when we're finished working together, they're sending me pictures like 2 months later. Look at what I bought. They're having confidence shopping. They know what they're looking for. They know how to put their outfits together so that they feel really beautiful and they show up with more confidence. So their abilities really improve, their styling skills strengthen. And what this does is it just continues to grow because they keep going, right? They keep doing it. They stay engaged because they still have that goal. They want to look good. They want to feel polished. They want to look put together, and they keep progressing forward in their lives.
Yeah, I love that, just because it's as much as we're talking about fashion, and again, the way we dress, it keeps coming back to the way we feel, like confidence, the way that we feel, taking action so that we can feel more empowered about ourselves to continue taking action and moving forward. So I guess probably one last thing, the last thing is just, can you give us like an example of, like, you don't have to give us any names or anything like that, but of a client who was, when they came to you, it was like they were in this state of resistance, right? They were really resistant to maybe work with you. And then now here today, they are just the opposite, 180 degrees on the other side of the spectrum. And they're sending you those pictures.
Yes. Okay. So a big hurdle of resistance that so many women that I work with have had is about investing in themselves. I work with a lot of moms. So moms have tremendous mom guilt that just comes with the territory. So they've got kids to take care of, houses to tend to. So the idea of investing in themselves with that time and with that money so that they show up feeling more confident, that's a big hurdle for them to overcome. So a lot of women who I work with, they are coming from that place and they feel guilty for doing things for themselves. Now we start working together, and what they tell me is that this is the best thing that they could have done for themselves and for their families, because by feeding into themselves in this way, it allows them to show up more fully for everyone else. Okay. So once they're with me and they're engaged in our process of working together and they start to see the results of how it's impacting the way they're showing up for their family, it helps them go even more all in on the work that we're doing together. They get even more invested in getting those results, to understand their bodies, to know how to shop, to know how to put outfits together, so that when we're finished working, they've achieved the results that they're after and that they feel confident, they love their clothes, they feel like they've got things to wear, and they know what they're doing when it comes to getting dressed. And then they send me the pictures of the outfits that they put together or that they found while shopping.
Yeah, I mean, I love that you just touched on that, because I've experienced that so often myself, because I work primarily with moms as well. And I've had people just tell me, like, or moms tell me, like, I need to get my mind right first. And it's just such a, I don't know if catch-22 is the right term, but it's just, it's not a magic trick, right? Like, again, it comes back to just taking action, taking uncomfortable action, and then that builds confidence and endurance, and then through that we change the way that we're viewing the process, and that's how our mind changes. Too often I think people think that it's just going to happen on its own. So that process you just broke down from start to finish there with how you are with your clients, it just shows, like, if you take the action, right, you get uncomfortable, like, you're going to transform, you're going to have like a psychic change, you're going to change as a person. And then you can show up in every other aspect of your life like the most authentic you. And that's, like, I think probably the greatest gift you can give to anybody. So in this sense, like, dressing up, like, we can tie that to what I just said right there, showing up. So that's incredible. I love that you just brought that up.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing, this growth that we're talking about, where you're overcoming resistance, when we're looking at women and their wardrobes and their style and what they're wearing, obviously it's not all going to come together like that. They have these movies, I don't know if you've ever seen them, and they have these like makeover scenes where the girl, like, all of a sudden basically snaps her fingers and she's beautiful. It doesn't work like that. It's a process, right? And every outfit isn't going to come together just like that. But when they don't come together so quickly, that's the opportunity to learn. Well, what exactly didn't work here? Do I not like the way this neckline looks on me? Get very specific about why it didn't work. And then you're not going to make that mistake again. You've just learned. So now next time you go to put that outfit on, you say, oh yeah, that neckline, I don't do that. So it saves time in the future, and you just get faster at putting your outfits together with ease.
Do you think I rock this neckline okay?
Yeah. Absolutely.
No, I mean, yeah, that's a great point too. It's something I actually didn't even think about, so you just mentioned it. But that is something we definitely have to combat against, is just the instant gratitude or instant validation. We want instant change, and realistically, in most areas of our life, that just doesn't happen. And so it's important to, like, grasp that and, like, come to understand that, because if I continue to think that it's just going to change, like, I'm not going to once I make, like you said, instead of changing, maybe failing and then learning from that failure, I'm going to think that it's just a failure and then just not take any further action from that point forward. And that's quitting, right? And that's really in my, this is my opinion here, but that's the only place I feel we could probably quit or fail is if we just quit. As long as we're trying, we're probably going to keep moving along,
Failure
So,
is just
anyhow.
failure is just data. With failure, it's just data. Okay, here's what happened. These are the facts. Let's move forward. Let's tweak and move forward.
Exactly. Yeah, that's all it is. It's just a data point. Hey, what do I do better next time? Like you said, the neckline,
Yeah.
or the belts, right? A different
Yeah.
belt, different color belts. It's all data. Anyway, Elysha, just as fun as the first time with you. Like, I love the content that you offer up and the value that you provide. For everybody watching at home, again, this is Elysha Lenkin. I'm your host. I'm Fisher. This is Mom's Movement and Mindset: How to Break Through Resistance and Transform Your Body and Mind. Elysha, thank you again for your time.
Thank you.